Welcome to the Shorten Anime channel. Today we'll dive into the latest episode of The Great Ruler. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to support the channel. The Great Ruler, Season 1, Episode 6. Following the appearance of the fiery red lights, the fiery red spiritual energy violently expanded on top of Liu Yang's palms, and the originally palm-sized sun doubled in size. At the same time, the spiritual energy surrounding the world seemed to attracted to these lights on Liu Yang's body. It further increased his momentum. Surrounding the ring, many students' expression became serious as they watched this scene. It was obvious that Liu Yang has exhausted all his strength right now. This offensive would definitely be as powerful as a wild lightning. He plans on defeating Mu Chen with this one move. As Su Ling and the others stared at the ring, their expression was filled with nervousness. Beside them, Tang Chen-er's beautiful eyes also became more solemn. Liu Yang's strength was not weak even within the heaven class. I would like to see how you counter this. Liu Yang's face became dark as he directed a smile towards Mu Chen. His body stormed out, and the sun-like fiery red, spiritual energy was so violent that it was glaring. Liu Yang's speed was extremely fast. He seemed to have instantly appeared in front of Mu Chen and fired off a palm. The sun-like spiritual energy on his palm was relentlessly smashed towards Mu Chen. Solar Flame Palm! The violent spiritual energy brought over a gust of wind. It made Mu Chen's clothes flutter as his black hair constantly danced in the sky. Yet there were no signs of anxiety within the black eyes that stared at Liu Yang. Despite all this, you're still trying to pretend at this moment. Go to hell! Under Mu Chen's calm gaze, Liu Yang's heart trembled. The fury within him grew even further. I wonder if you would remain this calm after I step on you in front of everybody here. You still want to step on me? Mu Chen looked at the quickly approaching Liu Yang. He could see the latter's eyes clearly, and his lips slowly erected an arc. It was cold like a blade. Unfortunately for you, you don't have the qualifications to do so. Mu Chen lifted his head boldly. The dark spiritual energy furiously rushed out from his body as he clenched his hands tightly together. The domineering black lights traveled back and forth at his fingers. A powerful fluctuation erupted out. This spiritual energy fluctuation. At the main seats, Principal Xiao and the two other instructors revealed a surprised expression. Spiritual movement stage middle phase? A fierce uproar broke out from the surroundings. This spiritual energy fluctuation revealed that it had truly entered into the level of the spiritual movement stage middle phase. Mu Chen had actually broken through and advanced to the spiritual movement stage middle phase. That boy really has quite the skill. At the West Branch seats, the students from the West Branch Heaven class also had a grave complexion. With the strength of a spiritual movement stage middle phase, he would be rather high up among the Northern Spiritual Academy Heaven class. They lamented within their hearts as they never imagined that an Earth class student would be able to achieve it. To be able to obtain the Spiritual Roads qualification, Mu Chen really had some ability. Liu Mubai's handsome face did not show much movement. His eyes only stared at the ring calmly, and others could not tell whether he is happy or angry. The dark black spiritual energy seemed to flow out of Mu Chen's body like a stream. It wrapped around his right arm completely. He extended his ape-sized arm, and a powerful fluctuation was formed by this fist as it blasted out. Collapsing fist. Mu Chen's arm was like a spear that was stretched out to its extreme. It exploded out the most powerful energy it could muster at this short distance. Due to this, the air seemed to be collapsing due to this fist. Although it was only just a common tier, low-rank attack spiritual art, it was like a landslide under Mu Chen's use as it was mixed with the flowing spiritual energy. Under Liu Yang's slightly changing gaze, it collided fiercely against the violent palm winds. A deep sound suddenly exploded out from the ring. The black and red lights collided viciously with each other, and the airwaves produced by it seemed to make the air tremble. All the eyes were fixed to the point where the spiritual energy intersected. Over there, the black and red lights flashed rapidly. Then soon after this, everybody witnessed two figures retreating a few steps after they made contact with each other. The two figures confronted each other on the ring. One had a dark expression, while the other had a calm expression. They were evenly matched. Everybody looked at each other. The earlier collision was so powerful, yet it did not decide the victor. While everybody was stunned about this, Liu Yang's dark face suddenly became pale. His body curved and fresh blood sprayed out onto the ring. As the fresh blood was expelled out, Liu Yang's imposing manner seemed to have instantly become dispirited. The pale white face made everybody in the surroundings cry out. Liu Yang lost. After they stared at the pale Liu Yang and the calm Mu Chen, everybody was aware of the results of this match. Brother Mu won. Good going, Brother Mu. Haha, we, the East Branch, has finally retrieved back the title of Earth Class number 1. At the East Branch's side, Su Ling and the others stared at this scene. Then a surprised and excited expression emerged on their faces. Cheers resounded out from the sky and instantly suppressed the silent West Branch. Even Liu Yang has lost. This time the West Branch had really lost to the East Branch. Mu Yuan, Zhuodong, and the others from the West Branch, Earth Class, gritted their teeth as they were not able to accept it. However, they had to admit that Mu Chen was definitely powerful. They originally thought that he was only at the spiritual movement stage initial phase. How would have imagined that? This guy would have advanced to the middle phase. After hearing the deafening cheers from the East Branch, Mu Chen also smiled and his tense body gradually relaxed. He stared at the extremely sullen Liu Yang and asked, "There's no need to fight anymore, right?" Liu Yang slowly raised his head and his darkened eyes focused onto Mu Chen. These cheers were like knives that stabbed into his heart, and it trampled on his pride. His mouth twitched as savageness began to accumulate within his eyes. Mu Chen stared at Liu Yang's expression and frowned. Through the immensely vicious trial within the spiritual road, he was able to detect a hint of danger. "I'll kill you!" A hideous expression suddenly appeared on Liu Yang's face. He gripped his hand and a red light seemed to appear within it. An extremely shocking spiritual energy fluctuation began to erupt out violently. At the main seats, the expression on Principal Xiao, Teacher Mo, and Teacher Shi changed. Then Teacher Mo shouted out, "Liu Yang, what are you planning to do?" However, the instant that Teacher Mo shouted out, Mu Chen had dashed over with a cold expression. He charged directly in front of Liu Yang, and a powerful wind appeared from his 2 fingers, which was wrapped with a dark black spiritual energy. He directly stabbed towards Liu Yang's throat. "You!" Liu Yang never thought that Mu Chen's reaction would be this fast. It seemed that Mu Chen did not show any signs of defending against him. Within Mu Chen's cold eyes, there was actually a cold intent to kill. This killing intent made Liu Yang understood immediately. If the thing within his hand were to activate and kill Mu Chen would also take away his life in the moment before he died. He's using his life to trade for another. A surge of panic appeared within Liu Yang's eyes. Apparently, he did not have the courage to truly trade life with Mu Chen. Thus, he could only grit his teeth and protect his throat using his palms. Mu Chen's fingers were like a sharp dagger. It stabbed directly at Liu Yang's palms, and blood splattered out. As Liu Yang screamed, the red light held within his hand also fell out. Mu Chen's body jumped and caught the red light into his hand. "Return it to me!" When Liu Yang noticed Mu Chen seizing the red light, his face suddenly became pale. Mu Chen ignored his outburst and retreated. Suddenly, the sound of the wind breaking could be heard, and a vigorous spiritual energy fluctuation shot violently towards him like an arrow. The sudden attack made Mu Chen frown. His toes touched the ground, and he nimbly retreated back a dozen steps to avoid the attack. Then he asked at the slender figure appearing from outside the ring with a cold expression, "What are you doing?" That handsome and slender figure landed beside Liu Yang. It was Lu Mubai. At this moment, he held out his hand and stared expressionlessly at Mu Chen. "Hand over that item." Mu Chen let out a cold laugh. He lowered his head to look at the red light within his hand. But when he saw the item within the red light, his mouth gently lifted up. "As expected from the little young master of the Lao territory, you are able to bring out even this item." The change in the ring occurred in a split second. When many people recovered, they noticed that Liu Mubai had already appeared in the ring. Their faces instantly became surprised. "What is this situation?" Mu Chen did not care about the expressionless Liu Mubai. He only lowered his head to stare at his hand. The red light faded away and it revealed a fiery red bead at the size of a longan. The surface of the bead was filled with an obscure pattern. Within it, a violent spiritual energy seemed to flow like a tidal stream. Spirit Destruction Bead. Mu Chen's slender fingers pressed against the smooth red marble. He let out a faint smile, only that the smile was a little bit cold. The Spirit Destruction Bead was not something that is used for self-cultivation. It was an extremely destructive spiritual artifact. When a powerhouse reached a certain degree of strength, they would be able to compress that immense spiritual energy within this tiny bead. Then the user would only need to activate it and an extremely powerful spiritual energy attack would burst out. Creating the spirit destruction bead requires a special metal called spirit gold. This metal is extremely expensive. Coupled with the fact that creating the spirit destruction bead requires precise control and it has a high rate of failure, the spirit destruction bead was rather rare. Looking at the one within Muchen's hand, the extent of the spiritual energy being condensed was strong, even to cause a grave injury to a person at the spiritual rotation stage. This Liu Yang wanted to kill him. "Return it back to me." Liu Yang became clear-headed at this moment, and his face became even paler. He knew that his behavior broke the rules, and if he was punished, it would not be light. Therefore, he immediately glared fiercely at Mu Chen and extended his hand. "Big brother, hurry and snatch that item back. Don't let him have the evidence." When he heard Liu Yang's words, Liu Mubai's eyes flashed. After all, their status wasn't low. If there wasn't any evidence within Mu Chen's hand, they would be able to get through it. "If you dare move recklessly, this spirit destruction bead might explode on your body." Before Liu Mubai was able to take any action, Mu Chen smiled and said with the spirit destruction bead tucked between his fingers. This time Liu Yang was indeed a bit too reckless. "Return the spirit destruction bead back to him. You should do others a favor sometimes, and it would benefit both of you. Wouldn't you say?" Liu Mubai's eyes became serious and he stared at Mu Chen as he slowly spoke. Mu Chen declined to commit on it and let out a smile. "What is this all about?" At this moment, Teacher Mo also stepped onto the stage. He stared at the three people and shouted out. When Liu Yang noticed Teacher Mo appearing over here, his face instantly became white. He stared fiercely at Mu Chen and attempted to threaten him to keep his mouth shut. However, Mu Chen completely ignored his threat. He lifted up the spirit destruction bead towards Teacher Mo. Teacher Mo stared at the spirit destruction bead within Mu Chen's hand. His face instantly turned grim, and he turned his sight towards Liu Yang. Anger could be heard within his voice as he shouted, "You actually dared to use the spirit destruction bead during the match? Spirit destruction bead?" Many students were paying attention to this side. When they heard the words spirit destruction bead, they instantly made a big commotion. "He really is shameless. He actually brought out the spirit destruction bead." As expected from the young master from the largest territory in Northern Spiritual Realm, how rich, oh ho ho. Sounds of fury and sneers came from the surrounding audience. Liu Yang's face also became unusually hideous. This time, he really shamed his own family as well. At this moment, Principal Xiao and the West Branch's teacher Shi also rushed over here. Teacher Mo went over to explain the situation a bit, and everybody noticed Principal Xiao's expression becoming more disgusted. "Principal, Liu Yang only did this on an impulse. However, he did not harm anyone. This matter should be excusable." Liu Mubai hurried and said when he noticed this, "Senior Liu, are you trying to say that it should be considered inexcusable only after I was seriously wounded by his spirit destruction bead?" Mu Chen let out a slight smile and said. Liu Mubai's eyes glanced coldly at Mu Chen, and he said, "What do you want then?" "It is not what I want, but the Northern Spiritual Academy has rules within it. We should deal with this matter in accordance to the rules," Mu Chen said with a casual smile. Liu Mubai's eyes flashed, but just when he was about to speak, he was interrupted by Principal Xiao. Principal Xiao looked at Teacher Mo and Teacher Shi and asked, "How should we deal with this situation?" Based on the rules, Liu Yang would be disqualified from ascending to the heaven class this time. Teacher Mo thought for a while and said. Liu Yang's face instantly changed. If he could not ascend to the heaven class, he would not be able to compete for a place within the 5 great academies. This would be a fatal blow to him. Isn't this a bit too serious? There aren't many individuals within our Northern Spiritual Academy that has the qualifications to compete for the 5 great academy spots. Teacher Shi pondered for a moment. Then he lowered his voice and said, "And if this were to happen, Liu Yang's father probably would not let it go. Although we, the Northern Spiritual Academy, may not fear this, but it would still be troubling if we form a bad relationship with the #1 territory within the Northern Spiritual Realm. However, Mu Chen's father is also the Mu territory's lord. If we let this go, the Mu territory might be quite angry with us." Teacher Mo also said out loud. Principal Xiao shook his head helplessly. If they were just ordinary students, then it would not be so troubling. However, both of them are the sons of territory lords within the Northern Spiritual Realm. It would not be good for them to favor one over the other. "Oh ho ho, Mu Chen!" Principal Xiao suddenly looked at Mu Chen, who was beside them. He smiled and said, "About this matter right now, would you say—" Mu Chen saw Principal Xiao smile and he knew what the latter was trying to say. He immediately smiled and said, "Principal, Liu Yang was indeed quite rash this time. However, I am willing to forgive since I wasn't hurt." After they heard Mu Chen's words, not only was Principal Xiao stunned, even Liu Yang was shocked. It was evident that he did not expect Mu Chen would let him go like this. However, when he saw Mu Chen smile, his heart suddenly calmed down. This boy may look mild normally, but his methods were extremely ruthless. He still remembered about the ruthlessness he showed when Mu Chen snatched away his spirit destruction bead through the act of trading lives. However, he still violated the rules. "How about this? I'll treat this spirit destruction bead as an apology gift and will not return it to him. Then I will not make a fuss about this issue." Mu Chen smiled as he said. He knew that this matter was troubling to Principal Xiao and the others. However, he also knew that it wouldn't have much effect if he were to keep at it. If that's the case, he might as well take advantage of this and sell a favor to Principal Xiao at the same time. "You!" When Liu Yang heard that Mu Chen actually wanted to take his spirit destruction bead, his eyes popped out in anger. The spirit destruction bead was made personally by his father and was something left to him in order to protect his life when necessary. It was an extremely valuable item. "You're not willing? Then let's just punish you according to the rules." Mu Chen glanced at Liu Yang and said helplessly. The corner of Liu Yang's eyes jumped. He could only hold it in. Although the spirit destruction bead was valuable, it was nothing compared to a place within the 5 great academies. "Oh, since you've taken a fancy to this spirit destruction bead, we will give it to you." It was apparent that Liu Mubai was more calculating than Liu Yang. He took a deep look at Mu Chen and said with a faint smile. Mu Chen smiled as he glanced at him. Although Liu Mubai hit it very well, he could see a hint of resent within his eyes. This guy is definitely more troubling than Liu Yang. Since Mu Chen would not make a fuss about it, then this matter will be over now. However, if Liu Yang dares to do this again in the future, the Northern Spiritual Academy will not care who your father is and handle it according to the rules. When Principal Xiao noticed that Mu Chen was willing to remain silent on this, his heart was slightly relieved. Since he did not have to be troubled about this matter, his favorability towards Mu Chen increased slightly. Then he immediately said in a strict voice towards Liu Yang. Liu Mubai's face changed from red and green alternately. He did not dare say anything more. Although the Northern Spiritual Academy maintains neutral within the Northern Spiritual Realm, they were not afraid of the Liu territory. "Thank you, Principal." Liu Mubai smiled. Then he extended a hand towards Mu Chen and said, "I have to thank you as well, Junior Mu Chen. That's right. You will be a heaven-class student soon. I am quite interested in you, so I hope that I would have an opportunity to have an exchange with you in the future." His handsome face had a smile plastered on it. However, a few individuals were able to perceive a dark, cold chill swirling in the depths of his eyes. "Senior Liu, you're joking with me." Mu Chen stared at Liu Mubai. A sunny smile emerged on his thin and handsome face as well. He extended his hand to shake with Liu Mubai. Then he retracted it back. His eyes still showed calmness deep inside. Liu Mubai was indeed outstanding, and he also knew how to endure it silently. However, he was still inferior to the monsters within the spiritual road, who would smile harmonious for one moment and would not hesitate to kill in the next moment. In the ring, the two of them shook hands. Although both of them had a smile, the ones that are sensitive were able to faintly feel a confrontation underneath this peacefulness. That Mu Chen really is quite amazing. He actually did not retreat back in front of Brother Liu. Not far away, the West Branch Heaven-class seniors watched the scene. They could not help but mutter this. Even without mentioning about Mu Chen's strength, just by having the courage to stand against Liu Mubai was shocking enough. In the future, this person will rise up in our Northern Spiritual Academy Heaven class. It will probably become livelier. Hong Ling rolled her black hair a bit. She stared at the boy standing in front of Liu Mubai in the ring. The boy's slender body, handsome face, and disposition was completely different than the lazy boy in the past. This gap entranced her slightly. Without her knowing, the person that she neglected had actually become this outstanding. After the matter about Liu Yang had calmed down, Principal announced the results of this academy competition on the spot. The East Branch naturally was in the center of attention. Mu Chen, Liu Yang, Tan Shan, and the others Earth-class members that had advanced into the spiritual movement stage successfully ascended to the Heaven class. Mu Chen watched as the academy competition ended, and he stretched his waist. He was getting closer to the 5 great academies. The grudge that he had not settled in the spiritual road, he will resolve it during the 5 great academies. Muchen lifted his head and stared at the blue sky. He let out a chuckle. Ji Xuan, this time, let us have a good fight. That wraps up the content for today's episode. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel to get notifications for the next episode. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.